A lot of, I think if just on the relationship front, if your inner self is, I would say, past the narcissism stage, and you move into remything and re-entry. Remything and re-entry. And you remyth yourself. And this is where I put the word burning underneath. I put the word burning here. And I put that because it comes from Teresa and her mansion. I put that there because the re-entry and getting out of narcissism is a critical stage in transformation in which you will spend a lot of time, no matter how many. Remember, I want to emphasize that multiple levels of transformation go on simultaneously. You never just crack through one myth. There are relationship myths, there's professional myths, there's attitude, there's your myths about who you are, your history, there's you look at how many archetypes you have. If I had you in a class in sacred contracts, I'd put up the 12 houses and say, you've got a myth per archetype here. You know, some of you, you have an addict, you have a child, you have a seeker. Every one of these has a myth. The myth I hold as a teacher is that I am a superb teacher. Period. Done. It is not up for discussion. Okay. But my other myths are not quite as solid in their self-esteem. But that is a rock-solid self-esteem, and I don't even bother with that. If I had to go to therapy for developing self-esteem, I'd leave my teacher at home. Okay, so you see what I'm saying? All right, but each of your archetypes has, which means that all of our archetypal dynamics, have myths, like mothers, those of you who are parents, mothers and fathers, that myth in you will go through the empty nest syndrome. Okay? But there are other archetypes that's not even part of their script. There is no empty nest syndrome for the networker. That's only part of the parent archetype. So when that moment comes in the parental script, it will engage in a cycle of transformation. And that's all there's to it. And all of you will go through that who are parents, one way or another, because that identity of as mother, as father, will have to shut down in that particular role. So that will be a process of transformation that's going on, and then other parts of you will be swimming along as that one part of you is moving, and then what if it's the same time some part of you has completed a phase of transformation and you're having an awakening? So there are multiple dynamics going on simultaneously, which is why you have to think of yourself as a hologram. You are multiple dynamics simultaneously at all times. You are not a linear. Now, this is why, if you think of yourself in here, being within your earth, within your orbit, within the grid, can become very comfortable. It can become very comfortable making your life all about you and networking within your grid. I think I'll talk to this person. I think I'll send out a blog. I think I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this. And being a techno-human can feel as if you are actually connected to the whole. But in fact, you're a techno-narcissist. Okay. So the next stage is you have to remyth yourself in such a way that says, somehow or other, I've got to get out of my little narcissistic self. And I have to stop making my whole life about me. I have to go through me to others. There's got to be something about me that is of service to this world. And it can't be my wounds. It can't be my pain. Nobody gives a damn about that. Believe me, I'm going to hear and I'm going to deliver the message. Nobody. And I am here to tell you they're sick and tired of your pain. I will be the deliverer of that message. Nobody cares. Everybody's got pain. Here's the end of it. Boo-hoo, we're done. Okay, nobody. Some pain is really horrific. And in that, I put it on the side and I say, I carry that with kid gloves. But nobody can make someone's pain go away. And healing is not about you making your pain go away. It's about you learning to carry it with elegance. And stop throwing it in people's faces. And make it useful. Recycle it into something useful. Recycle it into something elegant. Recycle it into something majestic. But stop telling the same story so that other people, so you can get street currency out of it. It's boring. Now make something dynamic out of yourself because of it. God didn't give you hell to keep you in hell. And don't take other people in hell with you. You don't have any right to do that. That's bad practice. Wars come from that. Wars come from that. I have a right to make you suffer because I suffered. You do? I don't think so. So, that transition is saying, I have learned so much, I've become so much. I remyth. Here's the remyth. One is, you are not too old to do anything. Here's a remyth. How many of you have an age myth?
Which direction?
I don't give a damn. How many of you have an age myth? That age represents anything to you. That you turn to your age in any which way. I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm too. Where age is a deciding factor. How many of you have an age myth? Okay, put that down. How many of you have a money myth? I don't have enough money to. Okay, so age, money. How many of you have a time myth? Oh my God, the time. Okay, so this is what you need to know about yourselves, people. You do your calculations from the most powerless part of yourself. You see yourself as powerless, and you haven't got a clue about how to manage the laws. You see yourself as, I need to do everything in the physical world. Everybody needs to see what I do. And unless I can make a big, huge splash, or I need to feel like I need to see the results of what I do, blah, 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 blah. How many of you have that myth? Talk to me. Okay, so that's another myth. Put it down there. Put it down. In order for me to do anything, I need to see the results of what I do. That's a story you tell yourself. This is how you do the calculations. Let me give you another myth that exists within that myth. In order for me to heal, I need to see the results of healing. Hello. In order for me to heal, I need to see the results of it. In other words, it's not enough for you to understand energy medicine. That healing begins to happen at the level of grace. For you, that would be something that's incomprehensible, and you will not accept that. Someone would say, we're beginning to heal at a distance. All right, fine, thanks, I appreciate that. And it would be dismissed as though it's nothing. We would say to you, we're going to be praying for you every Tuesday night at 8. Please join us, light a candle where you are, and receive the grace. Yeah, sure, fine. And you don't even think about it when you go home. You're not there. You have no comprehension of what was just requested of you. You dismiss it as if it's nothing. Oh, gee, what time? Doesn't matter anyway. You have no idea what you've just done. You have no idea because it doesn't matter to you. Because this is not a world you even respect, have reverence for, or comprehend. Because in your world, unless you see it, it's not real. So what you have to do is remyth. You have to remyth. And the myth is, I need to learn these laws. I need to get this. I need to observe one thing. I need to observe that actually someone's look at me is, I trust that far more than whatever they say. If someone said to me, no, everything's fine, but I see something differently in their look, or I feel something differently, the truth is I trust energy over matter. I trust energy over what someone says. I trust my feelings over. Begin to observe really how you are. Observe yourself. Observe that you actually really do trust this world over this one, and you always have. Begin to study yourself. You always have lived here. Grow into your consciousness shoes. Wear your intuition. Acknowledge that this, don't ever again say to yourself, I don't know what's happening, I must be weird. You are never, I'm banning that way of speaking or thinking from your world forever. You are never allowed to say such nonsense. You know exactly what's happening to yourself. Now, whether you want to move into this, you have to re-mythologize and say, you know what, I'm on the grid. I have to visualize now that I'm actually living on an energetic grid. This is not, the invisible world is more powerful than the visible. Even physicists acknowledge that this is dark matter, and dark matter is the powerful part of the universe. Not physical, but dark. The space between you and me is not empty. And if you need to have a scientific tactile sense of that, go fill it in with science. Go study dark matter. Go read about it. Go so you hear what the scientific community talks about, that this is filled with energetic data. This is not empty space between you and me. It's in a different dimension, but it's active. And you are moving in an active sea of energetic molecules that are actively communicating with each other. Yeah, Sandy.
When you say dark, you're not talking about evil.
Right. Thank you. I'm not talking about evil matter. Thank you for that. But it is called dark matter because of the absence of light that we can see. Okay? So that in remything, you say, I'm in this grid. People are communicating with me in this grid. God is communicating. Light is communicating. And everything that I communicate. Okay? Are you with me there? So it's a myth that you live in a flat universe. You live on a grid. Secondly, here's another myth. That everything that you feel, your health is only about you. It is not. When you have feelings and you're feeling like blah, you feel depleted, or you feel anxiety. Sometimes, have you ever had a day where you just feel anxious? Do you ever feel like just anxious? And you think like, what the hell? And you just feel like this. Maybe that's not about you. Maybe you're picking up the psychic free radicals in the atmosphere that are being generated by everybody. By everybody. And it's flowing on your grid to discharge them. You have, sure. It's that a lot of the energy, a lot of the psychic free radicals get distributed on various grids as a way of discharging them so they don't flow into horrible experiences. Because what's a law? All energy has to become matter. And what prayer does is prayer is the counterpart to psychic free radicals. So as a way of directing them so that they don't come into human beings. Remember, here, follow this. Carol, say this right. Okay. Okay. Come up here. Law. Like attracts like. It's a law. It's a law. Okay? Action has reaction. All right, so here's the population of everybody, and we're always generating things. We're always generating sparks. Everybody is a spark creature. We're all little sparkies. Okay? We're always sparking. And we all spark positive and negatives, positive and negatives. We're always sparking. And all of our little sparks are not contained with here because we're always sparking. We spark and think, oh, that's beautiful. Oh, that's awful. This, dot, dot, dot. So some of our sparks go into very positive altitudes. And they become participants in the experiences of positive creation. And others of our sparks go into what you think of as the vast vat that creates alternative things, shadow events. These are the collective events of humanity. Agreed? Agreed. Now, both of these are subject to collective archetypal mythologies. This is where the mythologies of religion are. This is where the mythologies of huge mythologies like the phoenix rising from the ashes, collective mythologies that we share. That here's another one, death and rebirth. From all death comes a rebirth. That's the cycles of life mythology. They don't belong to any religion. They belong to life itself. The stories of nature, the nature of nature. The reason why we make up nature mythologies is because these live in these huge vats. Okay? Now, these vats flow into, they are subject to, this energy has got to flow in and influence the creation of matter on the earth. It just has to. Know the laws. Know the laws. And so, what makes this such a vulnerable time, right, is that all the myths are undergoing transformation as well. This is transformation. These myths are like what's happening up here. Just picture a bunch of angels up there saying, are we going to use this myth anymore? No. Which one? Princess Night. No more. End was seen at the death of Diana and Charles, the end of that myth, the official end of it. So that's getting dismantled because Kate and William, they can't carry the myth. It's all over. All right, toss that. These myths are getting changed. All right, so that's what makes our time so extraordinary, vulnerable, because we can feel what country's going to have the power zone myth, what country's going to this. That's why all the countries are moving. That's why they're actually physically moving. Japan is moving. This is moving. That's why they're actually physically moving. God, I hope you're following this. Okay. There is no myth to actually hold them in place. That's why their finances are moving, their land is moving, their people are moving, their politics is moving. There's nothing that can hold them solid, solid, solid. Nothing. They're like this. It's all like this. Now, what makes this so vulnerable, and I speak to you in the penthouse with your wildest imagination, soul imagination, is that this is when we are most vulnerable and most powerful. Because these events, these psychic free radicals can come down right now and grab all the unknown, and this is when humanity is at its most frightened and simultaneously most courageous. It can be the most ingenious right now, but the most barbaric. We are at these 2 points without a doubt. We can be our potential to transform right now, to see the possibility of, I know how to re-energize. How simple can it be? Because we are so primed to receive the template for solar technology. It's as simple as a simple idea. A simple, like Jonas Salk got, that's how to do vaccine. Boom, 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 boom. We are so primed to receive that. But we are so braced to destroy. Both are true. And as this comes through, this darkness comes through, it takes and it feeds off the archetype that are up and running, like the barbarian, like the pirate, like the brutal killer in the street that has launched in America. Get your own guns, fire, kill, the Civil War, the archetype that has emerged and woken up like and has magnetized this country. Choose sides. You're either with us or against us. And he woke up the archetype just like that. This mad southern demon woke it up just like that. The incarnation of the southern hateful president from 1861 woke it up just like that. You're either with us or against us. And the country cracked in half like that. Just like that. Do you remember? We're so vulnerable for a dark event. Just like that. And the world. We're so primed for a light. If you grab on the grid, and you think, oh no, I'm going to use the light to balance the dark. What you can do with yourself is so forceful at this time. What you do to transition through this time. What I remember as a baby Catholic thinking, why doesn't heaven just come down and kick ass? And then I understood prayer. Prayer is the force that routes the psychic free radicals into a different direction so that they cannot create. They cannot inspire someone to say, go hit the bomb, go do this, go do that. They route, they soften, they lessen the psychic free radicals. They diminish it. Prayer is what lessens to be less. This cesspool, yeah.
I know this is kind of a personal question, but what does your prayer practice look like?
Mine?
Yeah.
I need a lot. I do. I should never have exposed myself to politics. That was real, but history got me into it. Mm-hmm. History got me into it. Because I'm such a I eat, drink, live, breathe history. And I am so in love with America. But I'm in love with freedom. I'm in love with it. I'm in love with what this country stood for and stands for. And to be honest with you, that and my deep, deep, deep love for Christian mysticism that's the two things. My deep love of American democracy and the political mystics that founded this country. I adore them. Jefferson, Washington, Madison. I adore them. I think it was so phenomenal that they came together. What are the chances of Hamilton, Monroe, Jefferson, Franklin, Washington? Are you kidding me? Abigail Adams, John Adams, coming together at the same time? Are you kidding me? To found this nation, all of them in love with the soul, the freedom of the soul. It takes my breath away every time I tell the story. Every time I tell the story, I tell it myself. I'm just talking to myself, because I can't. Because when I think of that story, or I think of the stories of other countries, and they're great people in other countries, the many of them, I think that it really, a handful of great people have done so many extraordinary things to offset darkness. So my own practice is I always eat history with prayer. So did Teresa. But I have to put the two together, because I have to be mindful of what's happening on this planet, because I really think it's a privilege to be alive now. When historians will write about this time, they will wonder about several things. One is they will wonder about why we self-navigated the destruction of America, why we slept through it. Why did we do that? Why did we do that? They'll wonder why we did that. Number two, they will wonder why we did not pay attention to the signs of the earth. Number three, I think they will wonder why more people did not say, oh, I see what's coming, and do everything they can. When I've had profound mystical experiences. I don't like to talk about them, but you don't have a fire in your belly because you need a hobby. You know, I'd rather teach just history, but I got a fire in my belly. It's because I really deeply know each one of you is a powerhouse. Each one of you has unbelievable purpose in life. Whatever it is you do, wherever it is you walk, whatever God has given you as your path, on your path is a path of great change for all humanity. I don't care how quiet you do it. All you need to do is be aware you're on a grid that connects you to everything, and from this point on, that's how you see your work. I am connected. Whatever I do is influencing the whole. If you just began there and realized everything I do, what is in one, is in the whole. That enough right there is enough to say, I am changing the world by everything I do. You don't have to go out with picket signs. You don't have to go out with anything. What is in one is in the whole. If every day you said one prayer on behalf of peace, on behalf of humanity, on behalf of God, make me an instrument. Just make me an instrument. All right, then you say, I don't even believe in God. Okay, I don't care what you believe in, but you must believe in a power greater than yourself, or you couldn't be holy inside. Yes, you do believe in something. Every one of you does. I don't care. Make it up. Put a hat on it. Take a hat off. I don't care what it is. God, goddess. I could care less. Find your path. And in my own prayer practice, I am madly in love with the spiritual life. Madly in love with it. Madly in love with it. I absolutely love that quiet time because I need it, because I can be so hysterical when I see the world, because I think, what the heck's wrong? Why would you choose darkness why can't you take care of this world? And then it starts in my head. And then I start tumbling. Like when kind choices are so obvious, why are you so? And then I start. And David will say, will you stop? Just don't get political. Here's David, just don't get political. But I haven't, you see? See how nice I've been? Because I haven't gone anywhere near parties or anything, because it's all the same to me. It doesn't matter. We're talking about what's transitioning in the world we're living in. And your role of recognizing you cannot sidestep and say, oh, that's not going to affect me. You stop it now. What you need to realize is how powerful you are and how much what's happening to you is because of all of this, and that it's part of everything that's happening in the world, and that greater laws are at work. So what else do you want to know? Other questions? Yeah.
In the presence of evil, obviously, if we
Wait, Anastasia, wait a minute. Jerry's got. I'll take this question, then I'm going to mark her about a break, and I know we need to take a break, but I'm very selfish about the last day.
Sorry, in our prayer practice, I can pray to be strong in the presence of evil, but when you're physically encountered with it, say during the day, what do you recommend doing?
You know what? Don't engage. Don't engage. Here's something. How many of you, when you know you recognize someone, you think, why do I engage with this person? I always this. Okay, part of my own, what I've had to go through with my spiritual director is that so many times, I have had to crawl into his office with my tail between my legs and say, I've done it again. I have done it again. I've gone crazy. I've gone crazy. I've gone crazy. I have looked at George Bush, or I've spoken about a political thing, and I've gone crazy. I've done it again. I've gone crazy. I know better. I know it's an illusion. I teach it all the time. I teach detachment. I know better. I know better. I know better. And I've lost it. I've lost it. All I have to do is look, and I've lost it. But I see the Patriot Act. I see the lies. I see this war. I see the dead soldiers, and I've lost it. And I just see greed and oil, and I've lost it. And I start mantraing along, and he just sits there like this. And he says, are you done? Because it's like I got to spew all this stuff. And he said, he said to me, all I want to talk about is you chose to dance with the devil. And he said, does it matter? Does it matter if it's this or if it was heroin? He said, you chose to dance with the devil. Why did you do that when you're not strong enough? Why did you do that? He said, if you're going to go there, you didn't pray. And what prayer would be for me is I have to go into silence and say, what you have to examine reflection. Why do I want to go there? What is it I think I should do? Why do I think I can make a difference? Maybe it's not my role. As I go deeper and deeper into these questions, do I think there isn't a larger plan going on here so that my hysterics make a difference? Do I think that my anger or my need to point this out, what do I really need to point out? What is the wisest way to teach this? This is my prayer. Then I sit back and say, God, reveal this to me. The last one, revelation. Talk to me. Counsel me. Grant me the grace of counsel. Talk to me. Talk to me. And I sit in silence. Talk to me. And then I often read Merton. And then I read something from Zen. And I quiet my soul and I detach. And then I read Teresa. And I read Teresa. And I eat a page of Teresa. And then go back to Merton. And then maybe go visit another. But I always have Merton and Teresa. And I scaffold myself back together until I get to a place where I think this world is not in our hands. We have to participate. And then I remind myself of what I know to be the truth. That even Teresa said, we have the ultimate weapon, and that is faith in you. You will have the last laugh. I will have faith in you above all else. I will pray and let you distribute the grace. And I love the image of that. I will pray and let you distribute the grace. Sneak it in through the back door. Do what you need to do. But you count on me to pray, and I will be there. And that is my commitment. I will fill the grid. And that is what I will do. because I know about healing. Does that help? Yeah.
Would you mind repeating the last statement of Teresa?
She says, I know. Teresa said, I know what you've given us. She's always referred to, she says, prayer. Teresa says, you're going to get the script of this. You'll get the transcript. But Teresa always said, I know that you have given us prayer to use. So however it is I said that, I don't remember how I said it, but I know how Teresa talked.
Yeah. When Carolyn said, don't engage, that's not the same as ignoring or being oblivious to. Driving through a bad neighborhood is going to do nothing to change the neighborhood, which is like dancing with the devil. You may be able to change the neighborhood, but you're not going to change it by driving through it. It's just like you were talking the other night about driving home. There's nothing to change Maywood by you getting stuck in Maywood. And so this is, I think, what Buddha means by walking, and I like your word better than joyfully, walking elegantly through the suffering of the world, walking through it, but you don't engage it in the way that sticks you in it. There was this mystic from Vatican II, and I wish I could remember his name. He said it's to live your life as if life would make no sense, as if there were no God, which will look ridiculous to a lot of people. But it's that walking in faith. And there's I don't remember if it was Francis de Sales or the Curé of Ars. He was watering his garden, and one of his community came up and asked him, Father, if you knew you were going to die tonight, how would you prepare? And he said, the garden still needs to be watered. And if you can say that, like, oh my God, here's all the stuff I didn't do or ought to do, and I call so-and-so and apologize, and I'd better burn the papers than that room. But if you can say, the garden still needs to be watered, you're doing that. You're not dancing with the devil, and you're not driving through the bad neighborhood. You're watering the garden.
I really think the ultimate transformation, I was thinking as Jim was talking, I love that, is if you could say the prayer. Speak to me. Let me help anything I need to help now. Just put me where let me see what you want me to see. Let me act where you direct me. Let me just be a tool now. You know, that as you think about the myth and you get over your myth, I'm too old, I don't have enough money, you re-myth yourself and say, I'm ready to do anything. I am absolutely so strong and able. I am just fine. I've got everything I need. Your myth. I have everything I need, and everything else will be provided. I am not powerless. I am extremely empowered. I have everything I need. And you could say that's a myth. So is that's you're now going into, I have faith. The difference between myth and faith. What's the difference? I am now consciously choosing to have faith in a power greater than myself. I am now consciously choosing. Use me. Talk to me. Help me be an agent of transformation. And then we move into re-entry. Now you're re-entering the world or igniting your grid with this sense of, okay, I am now transitioning. I don't live on a planet, I live in a grid. I'm not walking in this world alone. I'm connected to everything and everybody. I am consciously animating. When you go into prayer and you close your eyes, you now visualize yourself in this grid, animating and literally connecting to all things on a grid through grace. I live, breathe, eat, sleep in a field of grace. I am one with all things. I may not be able to comprehend that. I will never comprehend that. This is like Teresa's fourth mansion, where she said, I couldn't get here. God came for me when I was ready. None of us can actually get what this is. We can't get that. It's kind of like, Edgar Mitchell describing to us what it was like to see the earth from a capsule. Well, it was like this, and it was that big, and it was blue, and da-da-da. Oh, yeah. No, I'm sorry. His sensation is not transferable. The sensation that suddenly took him from being an astronaut scientist to a mystic, that made him come down and say, oh my God, all is one. We are one humanity. This is one earth. And he became a mystic scientist, or a scientist who is a mystic humanitarian. Okay? No longer a driven, hardcore scientist. He had a mystical awakening. When you're ready, you awaken. You can't force an awakening. It's like forcing a delivery and the baby will be born dead. I mean, it's just not going to happen. So, but you see yourself on the grid and you begin to light up and say, I know I am. I can't feel it. But the heart is the law of sensation. You sense through your heart. And first, you just sense the people you feel safe loving. I love Ellen, I love Jim, I love Joyce. The people you sense, I feel safe loving you. I know where you live, I know your family. Okay, I can love you, I can let you into my heart. And you look like me, I know how you eat, I know how you cook. Okay, this is pretty good. And then one day, and I'm telling you, it will happen to you. You'll be called to love those you would prefer not to love. And it will happen. Oh, yes, it will. One day God will come for you. Maybe it'll be in the middle of the night while you're sleeping. Maybe it'll be in the worst possible time you could think. And your heart will be cracked open. A piece will be taken off the edge. And you will be called to love someone that you would prefer not to, in some way. And you'll say, oh, please, no. Please. Anything else, really, no. And it's too late. And it'll hurt like hell. And you'll walk away and you will say, I can't do this. I can't. Yes, you can, and you have to, and you must. And this is called the assignment. Sorry, but you have to. You'll be called to love or do something that's going to take fortitude, the grace of fortitude. You'll be called to do something that is going to stretch your heart into more pieces. And that's when you realize some part of you awakens that you did not know you had, and you've re-entered. You're re-entering. You're re-entering. You don't even know. You're getting plugged in, and this is the assignment. You've been assigned. It's going to start out humble. It's going to start out humble. You've been assigned. You're re-entering. It's not up to you. You can never pick your assignments. They'll start out humble. They always do. I got wiped out financially. I got seizures. No choice. I'm bloodbath. You never get a choice. You never, ever, ever get a choice. Your assignment always starts out with me on the floor. You never get a choice. Never get a choice. He had cancer. You never get a choice. Death. You never get a choice. The assignment comes. The heart shatters, or it gets filled with this fear like, I'm never going to leave my house. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. But I don't want to, yes, you will. I hate your guts. No, you don't. And so your real soul begins. Yeah.